You know, when I started Atlanta Public Speaking, what did I know about public speaking? I mean, I didn't go to college. No one certified me. I just said I want to start teaching this. I went on meetup.com. I opened up a meetup group. And then from there, boom, I started. And you know what? I've been doing seminars consistently every single week and sometimes every other week for like 12 years now. That's why nowadays I get a chance to work with corporate teams. I speak to the youth. I'll do seminars. We have a full-fledged program that we put on where there's regular in-person classes every other Saturday from 1 to 5 in this building, and then every other Thursday from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Roswell location. That way it dovetails to once a week. So once a week we have live in-person classes, and people do a lot of speaking over there. But how did I get a chance to do this? It was the fact that I was very consistent. I kept on putting on seminars. And I don't care if one person shows up, nobody shows up, or there's like more people, it doesn't matter to me. Because again, if I'm speaking in front of a camera or in front of an audience, I'm working. If I'm not, I ain't working. That's the basis. Because again, I looked at what are all the speakers doing? What are all the entrepreneurs doing? At least the ones that I want to model. They're all speaking. That's all they do. Sometimes I look at people that have like these, titles, directors, VPs, C-level. And you know what? When I look at what are the actual activities of their job, they're doing nothing but team meeting after team meeting after team meeting. And you know the only thing they're doing in that team meeting? Just running their mouth. Just running their mouth. If you're single, you want to, attract more romantic partners into your life. You know the way to attract them?
Speak loud.
You just got to move your mouth, right? You got to move your mouth. If you're a parent and you want to motivate your kids, okay? Now they will model what you do, so it's not like I'm just going to run my mouth, because there's some parents out there that run their mouth, but their life doesn't add up. So the kid looks at what they do, not just what they say. So there is times where, we gotta lead with our actions, of course, not just with our lips, but also, I grew up, I used to watch basketball. I wanted to be a basketball player. I thought my dream was to be in the NBA. I was gonna be the first Romanian guy in the NBA. Moved here when Michael Jordan was a rookie in the early 80s. And we didn't have basketball in Romania, so I got a chance to see that, and I fell in love with basketball right away. Well, Michael Jordan was a silent leader for a long time, but he still earned respect because he led by example, and he was the hardest working guy. Fun fact, a lot of people know this, but in case you don't know, Michael Jordan got cut from the first 2 years of playing basketball from his high school team. He got cut. The greatest in the world was not that good. He became good because he had talent, but he also had something more important than talent, something that trumps talent, which is a very, very strong work ethic, a burning work ethic. And so for many years, he was a silent leader. He led with his actions and with his work ethic. But somewhere around the middle of his career, he transformed into a vocal leader. And you know what? That's when they started winning championships. I think he got 6 championships when it was all said and done. So he started moving his lips in the locker room, and right there in the games. Could be at Madison Square Garden, could be at the Boston Garden. You could see him. He was pumped up. He would get in the huddle. He would be like the coach there. Now, Phil Jackson was an amazing coach. And also, the Bulls never won a championship without Phil Jackson. So I think the coach matters too. But trust me, Michael Jordan also stepped up as that role of a coach. And what did he do? What did he do differently? He started to do what?
Speak.
He started moving his lips, right? It wasn't just a silent leader anymore, right? So anywhere that you go, if you can learn the art of just speaking and being able to communicate, it's going to open doors of opportunity that you never thought possible. You know, I know some people, they're in a corporate job and they're very talented. Technical wise, they own the company. But the problem is they don't have the gift of the gab, or so they think it's a gift. They get too introverted, they get too stifled, they get too in their head, and then they won't speak out enough. And then they'll notice the person up the line is actually less competent than them, more confident than them, and then that's how they get moved up. So we gotta have of course we gotta have the competency, but I think the most important thing is having that confidence. When you have that confidence, the world becomes your oyster. You know, if I think back to my life, how it used to be when I grew up, I moved here in the 80s, grew up throughout my whole life, all the way until the Y2K, the 2000s, and then all the way up until 2012, I was this person that was very, very introverted and very stifled. And then in 2012, I made a radical shift in my life. And I transformed myself from an introvert to an extrovert. And for decades of my life, I tried everything under the sun. I was 35 years old when I made this transformation. I'm 47 now. And I tried everything under the sun. I tried the Toastmasters, did, like over a year in Toastmasters. Didn't work. Now, it worked to the point where I could write a script and, do a 5 to 7 minute speech, maybe do a table topics. But then what happened after that? Went back to that, Hermit the Crab, fake identity. So I'm like living this life because of the trauma that happened in my childhood. I'm living this life as an introvert, but really I don't want to be like that. I want to get out. I want to speak, but I just have this real powerful energy that's holding me captive, putting chains on me, like an invisible shackles. And so the Toastmasters didn't work, because after that 5 to 7 minute speech, I was back to this version where I'm still overthinking. So I wasn't free. Then I tried acting classes. That didn't work. I mean, it worked to the point where I could read my lines. What happened when the lines are over? Oh, back to this person. I tried taking on sales jobs, because in sales, what are you always doing? You're always talking, you're presenting, you're doing the PowerPoint, right? So maybe you're prospecting, you're knocking. You're always talking, but here's the thing: you're just saying the same thing over and over and over again. So you're not really getting the skill. So I didn't get the skill of communication. I got the skill of I could do this sales presentation. That didn't apply to other areas of my life. How about when I'm on a date? You gotta carry the conversation. You gotta be able to be interesting, right? If a person says one interesting thing, you think, wow, that's interesting. But if they say 2, 3, 4, 5 interesting things in a row, now you think, oh, that person is interesting. It's no longer the material that gets the acclaim. It's not the content, it's the identity. So I realized that what I needed to do, and I made this shift in 2012, was to create an identity level shift where it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if I'm feeling good or I'm not feeling good. It doesn't matter if I have a stomach ache or I didn't sleep the night before. Every time that I open my mouth, I have confidence. And it doesn't matter if it's a camera, one person, or 1,500 people. It doesn't matter. I'm always gonna come across confidently, because this is who I am. That's the identity shift, right? So when we can get to the point where we have an identity level change and a shift, then we're gonna be really, really to the point where, we could show up in a network event and we could just speak and be free and in the moment. We could be hanging out with family or friends, and if we want to contribute to the conversation, we would share a story, and then that story could maybe bring value. And you don't have to know